and not actually disciplining their children. When I was a child, I was disciplined, and I turned out just fine. I'm not going around screaming, shouting, punching people in public. So I think they just need I think it's just the parents' faults to begin with.
Okay, that might cause the problems, but I'm not taking away from the child still acting disobedient. So just because we can blame the parent, obviously, yeah, you would blame the parent, but that doesn't excuse the child's behavior because it's the parent's fault. That shouldn't just be a generalized thing. Because if that's the case, if you're a minor and you do some cruel things, I guess you just blame your parents, right?
Hold up, though, but what age are we talking? How are
I'm
we
talking about
defining
anything.
a child?
I'm talking about anything under 18, so a minor. This can be a 8-year-old, this can be a 3-year-old, or this can be a 17-year-old person. If they are acting up in public, they shouldn't go in public. You need to teach them. Just because they were this raised with technology doesn't mean like they're going to be less intelligent. I would think they will be more intelligent. So
yeah, but just think, it's like if we're defining a child as anything under 18, it's all different levels. Like someone who's 5 years old isn't going to know better than someone who's 15 years old. If someone's 15 years old and is acting up in public and stuff, yeah, I get that. But if it's a 5-year-old, then
what? If it's a 5-year-old, what?
A 5-year-old doesn't know better. You know, they're still learning. They're still growing up. Like
just like that 15-year-old is still learning and growing up. Y'all focus too much on that
15,
age.
you should be able to have an understanding on how to control emotions and stuff. At 5, your brain's not developed enough yet and doesn't have that understanding of the world to know what's right and wrong. You know, I should be doing this too. I shouldn't be doing this.
Right, and then you have these expectations that are put on these people who are still minors at the end of the day, and they still don't meet the criteria. But you wouldn't blame a 15-year-old. You wouldn't blame the parents. You would blame the 15-year-old, right? But wouldn't it still be the parents' fault because they're still a child? So this is why I don't do no cutoff ages, because it's all consistent. There still are children. They're not adults. There's some 15-year-olds who act way worse than a 5-year-old, and there's some 5-year-olds that act way worse than a 15-year-old. So just the age really don't matter. They're still children to me, and if they act up, I'm not going to just solely blame the parent. I'm going to blame them as well, because at the end of the day, they might learn that the parent doesn't care, that's why they're still doing it, but they don't actually learn to bite and kick people. That's what they decide to do on their own.
What about, let's just say, what about a baby then? 1-year-old or whatever. What about them? It's a literal baby. They can't do anything. They're gonna
No, it's a 1-year-old. Okay, if they sit there and cry, are you just going to let them cry all in that, like, in public? No. You're going to sit there and be like, what is the problem? You're just not going to let them scream because that's what children do. What? When they're screaming, that means there's something going on. So why are you just going to sit there and just let the child scream? I'm confused. Like, hello?
No.
I'll bring you up, Marge. You just got to wait. You have to wait in line. Don't be a disobedient child. Hello.
Why do you think that kids don't belong in public?
Well, because they are usually, most kids nowadays are disobedient, they're disrespectful, they usually will turn violent, or they are violent, and those kind of things should not be in public spaces. When you go in public, you don't think.
Wait a minute.
Why am I waiting?
Kids that don't have their frontal lobes
I'm 19.
developed yet. Why do you blame
their full
kids
looks
that don't even have a proper IQ yet? Then blaming parents who don't educate them, because it's all on the parents. You have to educate your kid.
It's not all on the parent, but it's a big part of the parent. Listen, I'm not excusing children's behavior because the parents needed to teach them. I'm going to blame them the equal amount, maybe even more, than I would do the parent. Because guess what? when a kid comes up and bites you, you think the parent like teaches their kid to bite people? No, they just were biting people and the parent didn't correct it. So they're learning these tendencies from themselves. The parents doesn't do anything to resolve it, and that's why it gets frequent. So I'm going to blame the child and the parent. I'm not just going to excuse the child's behavior. No.
Wait a minute.
Okay, so while Clementine is dealing with her disobedient little brother, we're going to let somebody else up. Hello. Hi.
So, I just wanted to comment on some of that. All right. Okay. First of all, you say most kids, which I'm not even going to correct, but because I know what you're trying to get at. But if kids, quote unquote, don't go outside, that means they're most likely homeschooled. Don't you think that means like they're isolated from really any social relationships, friendships, or etc.?
A child who is very disrespectful, violent, or any of the things that I've just mentioned should not be socializing with people. Why would why would that go down?
What about the normal kids? Just not specifying.
I'm not talking. Well, you need to specify, because I'm only talking about the disobedient kids that are majority of children. So I'm not talking about the 18% of kids who are raised correctly. Of course, they should be in public. Why not? But the ones who are very disgusting, why would I let other children be around those kind of people if I was their parent and stuff like that? That wouldn't make any sense, because that will make bullies. Do you know what a bully is?
Believe it or not, I do.
Right. So where do you think this bully's learning it from? Definitely not their parents. Their parents is not correcting their behavior, so they continue to do that. So I'm not going to let bullies go into school and bully other children, affect the nice children. That's not going to happen. They're going to stay inside until they learn how to behave. It's really not that simple. I mean, it really is simple. Infect is mental. What?
Okay, no, go on.
If you're only talking about all kids, I'm not talking about all kids. I'm talking about the majority of kids. So if you want to talk about the majority, we can continue. But if you don't, that's fine.
You know what? You have a really good opinion. All right.
Aw, thanks. Oh, you should say that your title then. No, because I'm not going to mention like the 18%, because the 18% is not whole. I'm going to consider the 88%, which majority of kids are bad. So that's what I'm going to say. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say, obviously, like, I know what you mean with bullies and all that, right? But so you've got to think, right? Some kids, they're just going to be stuck at home. Some kids will have people in their family who are like domestically abusing people or something. That's not okay. So then they won't learn, because all they'll be seeing is the parents fighting and arguing and, you know, all that. So they're never going to learn, first of all. Then second of all, you've got, you know, all the kids who are going to grow up with siblings and they're just going to be fighting. So even when they're adults, they're not allowed to go outside. Like, what do you mean?
Well, I see what you're coming from, because you were talking about, like, it's probably coming from inside. Well, yeah, that's probably true. But it doesn't change the fact that they're still bad. It's not like they're nice kids and they're being inside with the abusive parents. No, they're literally abusive themselves. So whether or not they should stay inside until they become reasonable and get enough knowledge to know what I'm doing is unacceptable, and I shouldn't be around people who, if I'm doing that.
So the thing is, right, I know where you're coming from with this, but you're wrong. Because basically, right, so there's a lot of kids, if they don't see nothing else, they won't know better, and that means that they'll just never learn. They're not gonna know better if you don't let them see nothing. And also, like, wait, what was you saying about it's coming? Yeah, so I actually don't think that kids are just evil. And obviously you're saying, you know, they're abusive themselves, but that's because they're learning from someone. And if you let them go outside, they're going to realise that not everyone's like that. And you know what? If they become a bully, then they'll just have to, well, they're going to have to change in some way. But you can't just punish kids who show a little bit of anger for
Well,
being
I'm not.
shocked.
Kids are going to be angry. That's no. But if it's consistent,
Yeah, but
that's when it's
okay. So what
unacceptable.
about kids?
So let me
What
tell
about
you. Listen, let me tell you, because I was one of those kids that were kind of disobedient, and I didn't go outside my house. Not because I was disobedient. It's just because
I mean,
I
I
had
can
nothing to
kind
do.
of tell.
But how I learned is from social media, and I was like, oh my god, there's so much different things around, and that's how I learned. And kids these days always be on electronics, so these electronics can teach them. Like Miss Rachel, have you heard of Miss Rachel?
I have, but that's not a
Yeah.
valid point.
No, it is though, because you said
No,
that.
but
Oh,
it's
how are
not.
they gonna learn?
Have you
No,
seen those things on social media now? Majority of them are posted by adults.
yeah,
And
I know.
it's not valid to say that, because if you want the behavioural issues, and also what about kids with behavioural issues, first of all, and second of all,
I'm talking
there is
about.
some kids,
Well, let me just
there
finish
is
my
some
point,
kids.
please.
Well, can I just finish mine, because you just busted
No,
in?
but you just cut me off, and I wasn't even done.
Okay, hurry up then.
Okay, so like you said, like how are they gonna learn? There's no one else responsibility to teach your kid unless they're getting paid, like the people on social media. No one should be teaching your kid how to act if they go out in public. That's just what you should be supposed to do. But if you're not going to do that and the kid becomes bad, that they're going to stay inside and they're going to have to learn somehow, whether that be on social media or them gaining enough consciousness to gain what is right and wrong. Okay, but forcing people to endure that in public and they're not the ones who having your kids is very unfair.
So actually, a lot of people on social media don't get paid. It's only influencers that get paid, and also like majority of influencers, if you don't know, they're very problematic. So it's
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 all
not
a
a very good.
learning experience. It
So do you
doesn't
want to let me
matter.
finish my point now? Because I let you finish yours.
Well, I'm just letting you know that you're incorrect.
Yeah, but you butted in, didn't you? So let me finish my point, please. So you're obviously like saying like, oh, like a lot of like they're gonna have to learn online unless people are getting paid for it. They don't want to teach the kids. Well, obviously people are gonna get paid for teaching your kids. That's just how it works. It's a job. But also like a lot of people aren't actually trained. Like parents, they don't get training. They just have to go into it. So they're not gonna know how to teach a kid everything that they need to learn. And they're not gonna, like, majority of parents, if they come from like an abusive household, they're not going to be able to learn because the parents won't want to teach them. So when they're an adult, you just expect them to stay inside or something because they're not socially acceptable.
No, but it is socially acceptable. That's why it's so
But it's not.
normalized.
So you're saying it's okay for a kid. No, it's not okay for a kid to have issues and be angry and be like abusive. But as long as they're an adult, they're all right to go out and be like that. Is that
If
what you're
if
saying?
if that's what it takes, because I don't think it's going to take that long for somebody to realize that they are the problem. I don't think it's going to
But
take
if they don't go
30
out, they're not
to
going to know
20
any
years
different.
to realize that they are the problem. If I thought that, then I'd probably choose a different route or suggest a different route.
Well,
So let's just stop with the adult thing because no one's talking about that.
okay. So let me finish my
Secondly,
point. Let me
no, you
finish
were
my point.
done. You were
No, let me
done.
finish my point. No, I'm not done.
You're getting very hot. Maybe you're a disobedient child. But let me finish. So again, that no one's the people who are on social media, they are getting paid. Why are they on social media then? If they're teaching kids stuff, they're getting paid. So them kids need to get good on that thing, on the get on those platforms and learn how to be a good person. If not, no one else should be subjected to that. No one's getting paid unless they go to a daycare. But majority of kids, they don't go to daycare because the parents can't afford it. So it's just a losing situation. But no one else should be raising your kid unless they're getting paid. Like that's ridiculous how you think that. Um. Anyways, hello.
How do you learn what is right and wrong if they're not allowed outside?
I just said to the other girl, from social media.
Social media is getting banned in the UK. So other than social media, how else?
So all social medias, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, they're all getting cut.
Banned.
What'd you say?
It's all getting banned, so how else do you suggest that they're going to learn?
Well, they can learn from their TV or something like that.
Learn from what?
Their TV. They can learn from the news, how bad things happen.
So do you think a child watching the news is going to make them realize that they're naughty?
I did.
Yeah, but you're 1 out of like 8 billion.
Okay, but if it's 1 out of 8 billion people, no. I'm pretty sure a lot of kids watch the news and can understand somewhat what's going on. I'm pretty sure that can happen. So
you think watching the news is going to make a child realize that that screaming is going to get them? Like, that doesn't make sense, watching the news as a 4-year-old. No one's going to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess, I'm not going to weigh out every single option for that child. It's either you live or you learn.
Wrong in public. Where else do you want them to go?
Y'all acting like I'm trying to send them to some type of camp or something. They're staying in the house.
That's what you're trying to do.
No.
So you suggest them just staying in their house all day?
You ask me all these questions and then you don't allow me to answer. Are you serious?
Go on, answer then. Go on, answer.
What I expect is the parent to raise their kid accordingly. If that doesn't happen, they shouldn't be in public to affect other people's lives who don't sign up. And if they do take this good advice, then the kids should learn from their iPad or whatever the case may be. But if it's in one country that's apparently everything's getting banned, then they should learn from the news. If that doesn't work, then oh well. That's all the options that you have.
That makes no sense.
Okay, well, goodbye. Like, is it supposed to be like 17 options for people? It's usually one option. There's usually one option, and I'm giving you plenty. Next. If you're not trying to understand nothing, then I don't know why you're talking to me.
Okay. So I just want to say I completely get the point that you're saying and everything about how you think disobedient kids should stay in the house and not leave until they fully learn their actions and understand what they've done wrong. But I don't agree with that point, and I'm just going to give you some reasons why, and I'm not fighting with you or anything about this. Everybody's decisions are their decisions and their choices. So I just genuinely think locking them up in a house for however long it takes them, I don't think that's going to solve a problem. Because, hold up, they have no social entertainment, nobody to talk to except their parents and siblings. And just thinking about that could affect their mental health, and that could make things worse. And just to think about it, most kids don't watch the news either, and plus there's on the news there's stuff that sometimes kids shouldn't be seeing on there, like deaths and car accidents and all that stuff. And I'm just saying that I think instead of locking them up in a house until they understand their actions, I personally think it would be better for them to go socialize and maybe learn off of better kids' actions, or for them to go to therapy to understand what their actions have caused and if it's hurt someone. Because some kids don't understand their feelings hurt other people. Even if they do understand and they think it's funny and they're gonna continue doing it, I still think instead of locking them up, maybe a proper talk, therapy, or just anything else besides locking them up and taking away their social time for learning off of other people, to help them. That's just my point.
Okay, but making a general statement that kids need to learn off of other people is no. That's the reason why they're in that predicament in the first place, is learning from different people. They need to learn and make decisions from themselves, okay? And again, repeating this point, a disobedient child shouldn't affect other people or kids, because guess what that will do with the kids? It will turn them disobedient as well. So there's been plenty times where nice kids get affected by these disobedient kids and they become unnice. So I'm not risking that, or I wouldn't try to risk that, because they shouldn't be in a house. Like, are you serious? And if the parent can't even teach them right from wrong, why would they be going into therapy? I feel like that's not even going to be going on. But you're acting like I'm talking about all kids. No, I'm talking about the disobedient kids. Okay? And if there was another approach, I still would have chose this one, because this is the nicest approach ever. So instead of sending them to a boarding school, they should just stay up in their house until they learn for themselves. I've learned some things being inside. You can learn things inside of your house. You never know the people that you're being around is even doing the right thing to begin with. So I just, no.
Okay, yes, I of course get that point. But the reason why I would say therapy is because I was like when I was little, like super like when I was like young, I used to be one of those kids. And instead of my mom or my dad or just my parents, they never locked me up in a house and said, "You don't get to have social time until you understand what you did wrong." I went to therapy for my actions, and my therapist told me how to talk to other people, how to respect other people, and how to not just bully them or anything like that. And I've not bullied anybody.
Well, that's great, but you're the 1%, because again, if the parent can't even teach you right from wrong, they're most likely not going to put you in therapy. So you're actually the 1%. So most kids are not going to therapy when they're disobedient because their parent can't even teach them right from wrong. It can be happen, but it's most likely not going to happen.
Okay. Yes, I completely understand what you're saying. Sometimes therapy won't happen and therapy won't help, but I just don't think locking a kid in a house and being like, scroll through social media and see if that can teach you, because there's tons of bad people on social media that do illegal things, get arrested, and do other things like that that are not
Yeah,
good
but
for
that will
kids.
teach them.
How would someone getting arrested teach them?
Because they know you do bad, you get arrested. I mean, hello.
I don't think them seeing like no, because there's so many people on there that do bad things, but
That's what
sometimes they
they need
don't
to
even
see.
yeah, because sometimes they don't get in trouble for what they do. Because I've seen so many people on Instagram, social media, and stuff like that do things they shouldn't do and not get in trouble for it, which makes other kids that watch that or other people think that they can do that.
And there's so many instances where something does happen to them as well. So we're not talking, it's not a 50-50 or a 60-70 or whatever percent, right? I've learned from social media multiple times because my parents were not doing that. So that's why I'm kind of advocating for it. But just because you say there are bad people who get away with things, that doesn't mean they can't learn from something like that either. Because other people, innocent people who don't have kids, shouldn't be around a disobedient kid and be subjected to that. And nice kids shouldn't be subjected to mean kids that will probably become their bully one day just because you don't think it's okay for them to be in the house. I still don't understand why people think that's okay.
Okay. Again, I understand your reasons and everything, and I don't like everyone has their choices and reasons to make, and I'm not saying what you're doing or what you're saying or anything like that is wrong, but I appreciate you so much for letting me talk to you, but I'm gonna end our
Yes.
conversation here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for being respectful, Cat's Eye.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Do you have a voice to speak?
I just wanted to like watch, but like.
Well, there's nobody really. Oh wait, are you Maya from Glitter Force?
Yeah.
I love Glitter Force. Where'd you get the avatar?
I had it a while ago.
Yes. Okay. Anyways, so what were you saying?
I'm kind of 50-50, cause like.
Really? Okay.
When you say kids, do you mean like Do you mean like 18 and under?
I mean 17 and under, because those are kids.
Why don't you think that they belong in public?
Because they attack people, they're disobedient, they're disrespectful. You know, they hit, kick, scream. Like, nobody should be introduced to that, especially if it's not their kid. They shouldn't have to be putting up with that kind of behavior, okay? And that should only fall on the parent. There's a lot of kids who just disrespect a lot of people, bite people, hurt people, and just scream too much. And I and you shouldn't have to go through that because we are not their parents. Okay? So the parents think it's okay for their disobedient child that can affect other people just be out in public. I feel like that's very disrespectful. Nobody signed up for the job besides you. And if they're not learning, then the kids should be inside of their house until they learn. Yeah, they should be punished.
I agree with that part, but I think some kids should be allowed in public if they don't kick and scream and bite and like just be rude and disrespectful. Because I agree with that statement completely, but I think that kids that don't kick, scream, bite, and do like all the disrespectful stuff should be allowed in public.
No, I'm only talking about the disobedient kids, which is majority. I'm not talking about the 18% that is nice children. Of course they should be in public. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the majority of kids are usually like that. So.
Oh, well, I thought when you said kids don't belong, well, the title said kids don't belong in public. I thought you were talking about like kids in like general.
Yeah.
Oh. So, I agree with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening. Hello. Why would you just follow me then unfollow me? Like, what was the point of doing that? I'm confused.
Ma'am?
What?
I'm scared.
Scared of who?
You.
Why are you scared, little boy?
I'm not a boy, I'm a girl.
Why are you scared, little girl?
Because you look mean.
How am I mean?
The way you were talking to her.
Do you get bullied?
Not every day, but yeah, kind of.
You should be scared of those bullies and figure out a way to tell them to leave you alone instead of being scared of me, because I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to help you out, and you say you're scared of me. No, be scared of your bullies and figure out a way to make them stop bullying you.
Okay, do you want to hear my brother?
Okay.
Hey, what's up?
Nope. Moonmans, do you have a voice?
Yeah.
So do you agree or disagree with the topic?
I disagree.
Why?
Because, like, first off, why do you think children shouldn't be allowed in public?
The disobedient kids shouldn't be allowed in public, and it's a large percentage on disobedient kids. So majority of kids are disobedient because they are usually violent. They scream. They either break stuff. Just be very disobedient, and people who are not their mother and father shouldn't have to be putting up with that, you know. And sometimes they might influence kids to be disobedient, you know, and that's just not okay. So they should not be in public until they know how to act proper.
So you want to take away their rights to go out?
Until they act proper, yes. That's what I would do as a mother.
So do you think they should go to school, like, if they don't belong
Because
in
if they're not allowed out in public, does that mean they cannot go anywhere?
Because they won't.
Yeah, they won't. No, because the disobedient kids will probably turn into bullies. That's usually the case. So why would I let a bully go to school and bully other kids? Why would I ever let that go down?
School and now you want to take them away.
But you're not understanding the point why they wouldn't go to school, because they will potentially become bullies to bully other kids.
The parents should be teaching them not to become bullies.
Yeah, but usually the parents don't teach them. That's why they're acting like that.
Well, then it's the parents' fault. It's not on the children.
It's 100%. Well, it's 70%. No, 60% the child's fault and 40% the parents' fault. That's what it goes down.
I don't think if children were when younger children, they normally that's when they start getting the characteristics. Yeah. So wouldn't it be that the parents, because the children are younger?
Well, you just said they get their own characteristics. So if it's their own characteristics, then why wouldn't I like not blame them?
Or they start turning into bullies.
See, what is it? Season, girl, that's not what nobody's talking about, okay? Right now.
That is what we're talking about.
No, I'm not talking about you. Anyways, so again, the point is, people can get affected, whether you believe it or not, by disobedient kids. Because they get away with a lot of things. And since people just was like, oh, let me just blame the parents. But they never blame the parents, because if they actually did, then they would be speaking to the parents about their disobedient behavior, which never goes down, right? Because they usually think it's really not the parents' fault, or they would have said something by now. But usually people just ignore it because they don't know who to blame.
You don't know if them children are actually getting punished or not.
They're not, because when you're punished about behavior, you don't do it no more.
You're not the
as
parents.
A child.
Not
what?
Every child after they've been told. You do realize
right,
that.
And that's when it becomes disobedient.
Yeah, I know that.
Right. So if a kid who's being disciplined, who doesn't know how to stop, why would you let them be in public to affect other people? And then you want to say blame the parent.
That's their right.
Children, they don't have no rights.
Yes,
they're not.
Yes,
they're not illegal adults.
Okay, so you don't need to be an illegal adult to talk, right?
That's not a right.
That is a right. A right is to talk.
Okay, so what law? So what law says you can talk when you're above the age of 1?
What?
Exactly. It's not no right. It's just something that just happens. Like breathing isn't a right. It's just something you do.
Some people didn't have a right to talk before. Like people in
freedom of speech. That's not what that means. That means your freedom to say anything to the government and not get trialed. Not just freedom to just say whatever you want.
That's not what I'm saying.
I'm not. I'm looking at the comments. No, but I understand where you're coming from for a certain extent, but it's that reason that you're providing is not good enough to me to let them in public. But it isn't.
I don't get how you can think children can't go out.
Well, I just explained to both of you young ladies multiple different times, and you still are not trying to get any type of understanding. So you're gone. Yeah, I'll let you up, but you have to wait. There's a line. Hello. Oh, wait, never mind.
Hi. I'm back.
Little girl, are you disobedient?
No.
You better not be.
No. Don't be talking to little kids like that. Okay,
or what?
Just absolutely disgusting, first off.
If you're going to come in here being disrespectful, you're not going to talk for very long. Just keep that in mind.
I'm debating you right now because I told you.
Right, so don't tell me what I should be saying because I'm not saying that to you, okay?
That's literally a kid right there.
I know, and I'm allowed to tell another kid if she's being good or not. Am I not allowed to do that? Why not?
That's kind of disgusting and weird in my opinion.
How is it disgusting with telling a little girl that she should behave? How is that disgusting?
They would not understand that. They would not understand.
She does understand. Look, I'm going to bring her back up and she's going to be like, yeah, I know what's good and bad. Look, little girl, please unmute.
Yes?
Little girl, do you know right from wrong?
What?
Do you know what's a good thing to do and do you know what a bad thing to do is?
Yes.
Okay, exactly. So if she knows what's good and bad, I can tell her to do good things. Next. Now, what do you have to say?
Okay, well, first off, I'm gonna say this: they do have a right, actually, because children are actually citizens who have a fundamental right to exist in common public spaces and social. You're saying that they shouldn't because they didn't behave and stuff, right? Kids cannot learn how to behave in society if they are I don't know how to say that from it, right? And there should be community support. Mothering parent is isolating and burying child, punishing families who lack affordable child care. And I think everybody in here who was a young child has acted, obedient in public. So I don't know why we're saying kids should not be in public.
Okay, so again, the reason why the disobedient kids, which is the majority of kids today, are disobedient, shouldn't be in public because it's either they scream abruptly loud, okay? They're violent. You know what violence is? They break things.
You're acting like I don't know clearly English.
Okay, I'm just they break things, okay? And they might affect other kids to do this, and I've seen it done before.
Can I say something?
No,
so,
I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
So, those are the main reasons and the only reasons why nobody should be in public, especially kids.
Okay, are you finished or?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say this here. I low-key understand why you think that, but either way. Oh.
Why is she talking about something?
Why is who talking about something?
Okay, well,
I don't know, but actually, let's ask this child. Let's see how much she knows. Little girl, have you seen do you see other kids being bad?
Yes.
What do they do that's bad?
They throw a temper tantrum and they steal things.
They steal things. Oh, really? I should add that on. They steal things. Yep, that's true.
Wait, I'm so cool. Yes. Do you fully understand what she's saying?
She does. She literally just gave me these examples. She understands.
Wait. I'm not asking you. I'm asking her. No offense. Do you understand what she's trying to say, right?
Yeah. Why?
Oh, okay. Clock that T. See, this is exactly why kids know right from wrong. Little girl, how old are you?
Let me speak.
Okay, but let me ask her age. Little girl, how old are you?
Wait, you don't need to wait. You don't need to say your age on here because no, don't say your age on here.
Why can't she?
Okay? Because we're debating right now.
Okay, and.
Okay, but you're being.
I'll say she's probably under the age of 10, and she knows right from wrong. Stealing is bad. She knows that.
Okay. Well. Okay. Can I speak now? I didn't get a chance to say what I was gonna say.
Okay, hold on 1 second. The little girl was saying that she knows right from wrong because bad things is stealing and throwing temper tantrums. Those are bad things.
First off,
but continue.
So I'm gonna say, well, kids, I don't know. I think under the age 5, right? Are we talking about? Well, it depends. What specific age are we?
Kids in general. So under the age of 18, so 17 and down.
So you're talking about. You're talking about teens too, right?
I'm talking if they're kids. Whatever you put, it's still kids.
Aren't you a teen too?
I am a teenager, but I'm not no kid no more.
So that's the same thing as you just.
Yeah, but I'm a legal adult, so.
How are you? Wait, how old are you?
I'm 19.
So you're not okay, but you're a young adult, right? So you were a kid once. You also have acted like this before.
Nope, never.
How would you know that? Did you ask your parents?
I know what I was doing as a child. Hello.
Okay, well, some kids don't fully
Actually,
understand.
wait. Yeah, I was
That's
stealing.
what I
I
was
was
gonna say.
stealing. I was
But
doing
you
that.
did this before, so you did.
Yeah,
so you've done this before, so you do understand. But I feel like
Yeah,
kids
and
should
guess how I
be
knew?
in public.
Guess how I knew right
Okay,
from
but
wrong?
kids.
From social
Oh,
media.
Okay, so kids only learn how to behave like that is because iPads. You know what iPads are?
Yeah, because I was around other kids that were stealing. So guess what I did? I decided to steal. So I didn't know right from wrong because my mom and dad didn't even know I was doing this at the time.
Okay, but based on your experience, I feel like that's just for you because
this is just like a domino effect.
The exact same way that everybody has. I think the only way as because I have a nephew who acts like that, right? He only does that when he doesn't get what he wants.
So I guess it's not just only me. I guess it's me and your nephew who's doing that, or it used to be me and your nephew.
Well,
so again,
he's only crying. He's crying because he's not getting what he wants.
Well, shut that baby up if he's crying.
No, absolutely not. We're just gonna let him sit there and cry till he's sick.
Why would you let a baby just sit there and cry and not do anything? That's literally neglect. You're literally neglecting your brother. What? If a baby is crying, I want to be like, what's going on? But if they're just crying to crying, you need to shut that baby up. Like, honestly.
Yeah, hello? So
why do you think this? So, were you not here for the past 10 minutes, or you actually was?
You just enlighten me on your claim, please.
Okay, I will. So, the reason why majority of the kids that I'm talking about that are disobedient, bad, I don't think they should be in public because they usually scream uncontrollably, throw a temper tantrum for literally no reason. They break things, they're violent, they're disrespectful, they do things disrespectfully, and those people who are like that are not in public, they get arrested. So why should kids just be able to do this and just nothing to be done to them? Most kids do that.
If you go in a classroom, you'll see that majority of kids are just sitting at their desk, paying attention somewhat. They could be talking or having conversation, but I promise you they're not throwing temper tantrums. They're not. I'm someone who's currently in school. I promise you, kids are not throwing temper tantrums. Kids are not stealing in the classroom.
They're not screaming. They're not disrespecting the teacher. They're not disrespecting anyone, and they're keeping their hands to themselves.
Somewhat, but it's not the majority, and you're arguing majority. So
right, but you're only speaking from your experience.
Right, and you are too. And
no, not really.
And you asked the little kid earlier, "Hey, buddy,
a little kid.
You know right from wrong. Do you see kids doing bad stuff? That's personal experience." So
yeah, but if I was doing my personal experience only, I'm not saying you can't use it, but I'm saying that's the only thing you're using. You're only using that when you go to school. I'm talking about in school, outside of school, all over the place. And not just school.
Okay. But majority of kids in school are not doing this. It's only a minority.
It depends what school you go to. I'll tell you that.
Right. But if you're arguing majority and it depends what school you go to, then it's not every single school that has.
No one said it was every
off the charts.
No one says every, but I guaranteed most school buildings, there are kids who act the way I'm describing.
Right, and they are, and I'm not arguing against that. And I told you, yes, they are. This is happening.
Well, that's great that your school doesn't have kids that allow kids to do that. That's great. But we're not just talking about your school, honey. We're talking about all schools, majority of schools.
And I guarantee you, go to the school, ask the principal, check the rules. Promise you,
I've been to enough schools to know.
Stealing is not allowed. All this is not allowed.
But people still do it. Kids still do it. Just because it's not allowed doesn't mean they don't do it.
Right. So
what are you arguing?
Commit crime. Criminals still commit crime.
Then what are you saying?
Nobody be let outside? Because if they are let outside, criminals.
If they're stealing, they get caught. They're going to be put in jail, so they won't be out in public.
Right, because
so if those people who are adults who do the same things that kids are doing, and their behaviors gets corrected somehow, why don't the kids' behavior get corrected? Because guess what?
They are getting corrected.
They are not. They absolutely are not.
If you go to a school, and you ask a kid, have you fought before? And they said yes. And you asked them what their consequence was, it was probably getting suspended. It was probably getting ISS, like in school detention.
And I'm pretty sure they knew that before fighting, didn't they?
So actually,
just because they know, okay, but just because they know this is wrong doesn't mean they're going to do it. And just because there's a consequence after doesn't mean they won't do it again.
Right. So we have to keep punishing them. We have to keep
exactly. That's
going
yep.
with the
excellent.
Consequences.
Yep. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So wait, I guess we do agree.
But that doesn't suddenly mean they don't belong in public.
That will mean they wouldn't belong in public.
Wrong and okay, if they do something wrong,
that will literally mean they wouldn't be out in public, though.
But if they never have an experience where they do something wrong,
let the person who's been waiting 11
like
minutes,
staying in their house all day, it's not like they're not gonna learn from that.
They're gonna learn because they've been punished. That's the reason why. It's not like they're just all of a sudden they've been out and then all of a sudden they're inside for absolutely they don't know. They would know.
Listen,
they would. Trust me.
If you're locked in your house, all day, if you're locked in your house all day, are you gonna learn from that or no?
If there's a reason why, yes, I will try to be like, okay, try to figure out the reason, and try to not do it again. If I was a kid still.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay, go.
So let's say that your child is kicking you, hitting people, being disrespectful, breaking objects, and you've been trying to and you've been trying to, control it, discipline him, but he still does it. What will be the next resort? Just to go out the same day and have dinner?
Okay. So my punishments before
did not work.
For it to get to that point, I would have to already beat his butt. Like I would probably.
Yeah, but that's not working. That is not working, and he's still doing it. So what would be the other option?
Now we have to lock him up. That's
exactly.
But
that's what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure some parents are trying to control the behavior, but it's still not good enough because the child still is acting like that. So again, yeah, if the child's doing that and it's not going to be corrected, it's not corrected. It's either you call somebody, at least you call Super Nanny, but if she's not available, then you lock that child up in the house. That's what people do. That's what they should be doing. Hello.
Hello.
So, do you have some type of new perspective you want to offer, or what?
Would I change my mind about wanting children to be locked up inside? I just want to state the fact that you're acting like the wild dogs and
I'm not acting like they're wild dogs because wild dogs you can train them and usually they'll be.
They've been killing everyone.
What?
You say lock them up.
Well, yeah.
Why?
Have you not been listening? You've been here the longest. You know why. I've been explaining it multiple times. The reason ain't gonna change.
It's hard to believe that you're at your age right now and you still you think that children should be locked up into their own homes.
Yeah, but I'm not just locking up any child. There's a reason why the child should be indoors. I'm not just saying lock up all children, because there are some good, great children. But that's not the majority, unfortunately. So the majority that is bad, literally bad, They should be inside until they learn how to behave. That's it.
I can't with you.
I can't with you either, because you're still like, I don't know what they do in England, but this is not okay. It's not okay to let your child do all that stuff. I'm sorry.
Okay, I just want to say something. If you don't let your kids in public, you know, they'll get like anxiety, you know? Bro, why would you let a child leave? How can I say this correctly, okay? I'm gonna say this correctly. How can you not? Oh, yeah, just get me off. That's all I want to say.
No. Oh. Okay. Hello.
So, it sounds like you're trying to lock up the entire age demographic.
Geographic?
No. Okay, you know, to be honest, I'm gonna say some points here. So if you lock a child, it would hurt the economy. It would also hurt their mental health. If you isolate them from public.
And what mental health would that ruin? Exactly.
So it would just ruin them. Absolutely. They like if you're trying it sounds like you're trying to isolate kids. Like you're trying to isolate them. Like keep them in the house just because they break stuff and yell.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to pay for stuff that your kid is breaking every time you go out?
Because they
really.
Okay,
are you serious? Okay, go.
Can I say something? Because so I feel like we shouldn't be blaming the kids. I feel like we should be blaming the bad parenting that's going on them.
You think it should be what?
It should be blamed on the bad parenting. You're saying wait, can I say? Okay, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No one is not blaming the parent, but the parent is not the one breaking objects and acting violent and screaming uncontrollably. That is the child doing that. Because even if they would, the parent would do that, they will be arrested. They'll be punished. So when it comes down to kids, they don't be punished. And guess what they're going to do when they grow up? Do the same thing because they haven't been punished. So this is just a learning experience. It all is, right?
Okay, but,
and I find it highly unlikely that you think that it's very necessary for your kid to be in public 24/7, and you're going to be willing to pay for every broken item that they break.
Okay, but
and you're just going to be perfectly fine with that.
Can I say something? Unless you're not done yet.
Yeah, you can talk.
Okay, well, a child yelling is usually a sign of stimulated or fear, or their brain is still learning, right? So they haven't learned emotional regulation yet. And what I mean by the bad parenting is that they're not giving discipline to their child. And so if adults commit crimes and yell in public every day and stuff, right? But we don't lock them up unless they, break property and stuff, unless they don't pay for it to solve it.
Okay.
Yelling is a normal part of how young children communicate and learn self-control.
No, that's not self-control if you're yelling.
It's just showing that they're trying to figure out the world, and they, again, like I said,
so kids that just run around breaking things, screaming and yelling and kicking kids in the back, which I actually saw happen, that is them controlling their emotions. Are you serious?
Wait, you're misunderstanding my saying. I'm saying
no, I don't think you're understanding the words you're saying right now.
I never said they have self-control. I said they're learning self-control. And again, like I said, you're misunderstanding me. I said they're learning self-control. They're still learning emotional regulation. So that's why do you think they yell and stuff? It's usually a sign of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Fear,
no, it's usually a sign of distress.
Or crying and stuff. Kicking.
Yeah, I'm not saying no kid should be crying, but if it. Listen, I'm not saying no kid, and it's unacceptable for any kid to be screaming, because that's sometimes what kids do because they can't control themselves. But if it's a continued type of scream, a continued crying, they're just probably doing that for attention. And you're the one who said that you allow your little brother to just kick and scream and cry, and you didn't even say you would check on the child. You said...
Wait, can I
but I want to just say this real quickly. You specifically said when you were up here before, hold on for a second. You specifically... Okay, how many times are you going to repeat yourself?
Because you cut me off. So basically,
yeah, I'm not done yet.
You removed me. Okay, wait. You removed me from the group. You removed me down, so I had to wait in line again to say that. No, I do not say that because my nephew was 7, right? So
yeah,
when
your
he doesn't
nephew,
get what he wants, he cries for hours, and we just sit there
attention.
And watch, right?
You sit there and watch while he cries for hours?
Wait, you're assuming.
Oh,
assuming.
Jesus.
Wait, you're assuming. Let me speak, please. I'm just trying to explain.
Okay, explain.
So,
Blueberry, be quiet.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
He cries, right? He cries. He realizes he's not what he's gonna get, and he stops crying. The reason why they act like this is, and if you want them to stop, you feed them stuff. But they need to learn that not everything is gonna give them to them, okay? And you cut me off, and then started assuming that.
Okay, well, my bad. But that's what it just sounds like. Like, that doesn't sound...
I understand why you...
Like, in my perspective, like, letting a kid like when you didn't fully explain, but you just say you let your nephew kick, cry, and scream for hours, and I was like, what is going on?
Oh no, not for hours. He only cried for like 3 minutes, and then he realized that he's not gonna get what he wants.
Okay, well that's good. So you are just you guys are kind of disciplining the child.
The reason why exactly why I blamed bad parenting because
it is true. Yep.
Because parents are feeding child's iPads, chips. Like when they cry, they get mad. They feed them the stuff, right? What they want, so they get what they want. Then in the future, they start arguing with them, misbehaving in school, maybe, and all that, and stuff. And I feel like we shouldn't be blaming the kids. Kids can be in public. It's just that they just need to learn that they're not going to get anything they want in life. That's what I just, yeah.
Yeah, but when I don't get something, I don't kick and scream. I don't do that, and I never did that when I was a child. Okay, because that's too much. So a kid can learn to not kick and scream every single time they don't get what they want, and especially they shouldn't be doing that in public. So that's what I'm saying. You can do that in your house all day, but nobody wants to hear any of it when they're out in public trying to enjoy their meals, if they're going to a park. No one wants to hear a screaming child, a violent child, a misbehaving child, because that's unfair for the people who didn't sign up to be a parent.
Yeah. Well, I low-key get what you're saying. It's kind of annoying when you're on, for example, you're on with your man and stuff, you hear kids crying, or you're in a plane, you hear children crying. I get what you're trying to say.
All generations have been disciplined with kids, but nowadays they can't.
For babies, babies, when they, just got born and stuff, they're little and stuff, they cry because they're either hungry or, something else, right? And after that, don't planes have headphones? Yeah, they do have headphones for the movies and stuff, but
okay, well, I get what you're saying, right? And now that you explained it better, I can probably change your mind if you continue to be up here. But I want everyone just to look at just Nancy's comment, and she's 100% right. She's right. That's why she became a mod.
Well, but you have generations have been. Wait, can I read this?
Okay.
Okay. What she said, everybody, was all other generations have been more disciplined with kids, but nowadays there's all things. If they change, there are ways the kid won't have to deal with the same discipline they had to deal with. Well, to be honest, I feel like it's just being influenced because the iPads. I feel like electronics also done that, but I just.
Not necessarily, but yeah.
Well, I guess not necessarily, but to be honest, when kids shouldn't, you say kids shouldn't be in public. I feel like it's kind of like low-key normal for kids to start yelling and stuff. It's just either they're expressing fear or like they're still learning, But when they get older, they start learning more and more and more about self control.
Well, I do appreciate you coming up, and you have a good evening.
Yeah, you too.
But I don't like when people generalize kids just kick and scream, because there are plenty of kids who don't kick and scream when they get something they don't like.
Hi.
Hello.
So why do you think kids
Yes,
don't
the majority.
belong in public?
Girl, have you not been listening? You've been here for 18 minutes.
I have a short-term memory, so I don't really remember stuff.
Okay, so I think majority of kids who are disobedient shouldn't be... okay, sorry. So, yeah, majority of kids are disobedient. They usually scream all the time, no matter what it is. They're violent. They break things. And they're just... those kind of people don't belong in public, especially in the form of kids. Because they get away with a lot of things, and that's not just... it's not a good situation to be in. Especially if you didn't sign up for it. Period.
Okay, so first off, when it comes to kids, especially kids that scream, first off, there's a good chance that kid obviously might have special needs and is unable to, of course, control that. Second, it's not really... I'm just saying there's a chance that, of course, that kid might have special needs, is unable to control those actions.
Special needs kids act way better than these bad kids, but okay.
Yeah, okay, but anyways, also along with that, yes, I could say it's of course annoying for kids to like scream and all that stuff, but most of the time it's mostly been allowed by the parents. We could say stuff like gentle parenting, where most of the time they literally just allow their kid to do whatever they want and basically just act like if they're like their kid's the parent. I would say that because of that, most kids do end up getting away with screaming and stuff, but that obviously does not mean it's okay. I think, in my opinion, we shouldn't just blame the kid, and I think we should honestly just blame the parents themselves. Because, yes, I think a kid shouldn't scream in public, but don't you think the parent should obviously tell their kid not to scream in public? Like, we of course have to at least put somewhat type of blame on the parents, because obviously, like, if you were a parent, you would know to, of course, tell your kid to not scream and break and, of course, correct their behavior. I don't mean like literally just like punishing them. I mean obviously maybe giving them a little talk or telling them what not to do. And if they're trying to break something, maybe try to lead them out of something else. Maybe they were trying to break like maybe a piece of glass.
Can you remove your hand from the mic?
I'm not. My hand's not on the mic.
Okay. You done?
Wait. Okay, but...
So, I'm not removing the blame from the parent, okay? But I just put more blame on the child than the parent. Because no parent is literally... because the kids learn the way they do things from the parent, but no parent is literally saying, when we go out in public, you better break that. When we go out in public, you better hit random people. When you go out in public, you better go up to people and ask disrespectful questions. No, the parent's not teaching them that. They get that on their own, and that's what I'm talking about, okay? And I'm pretty sure there has been parents that try to correct it, but then they lose hope because nothing's done, so they just allow it to continuously happen. And that's why the kid is continuously to do things like that.
But also, don't you think, like, yeah, I know, but also, like, yeah, there was some kid that apparently cursed, but yes, kids do get that, obviously, from other kids. But also, we could also say that some parents obviously just aren't good parents. Like, most of the time, those kids that scream and do all those stuff, most of the time, they've been from abused or neglected households. So, obviously, like, maybe they're more used to seeing stuff like that. Like... obviously, like, they wouldn't just randomly act out for no reason. And, like, for babies, the thing is that babies are basically helpless. Like, pretty much...
yeah, but babies don't bite and kick, scream, and ask disrespectful questions. No, do they?
I know. They're helpless. They can't really do anything.
Yeah, we're not talking about babies. That's why I specifically said kids.
Yeah, so like, what about kids?
They're bad. They're bad.
Also, like for all the parents out there, normalize using a leash so they wouldn't do that type of stuff.
Yeah,
like,
but if you're literally using a leash to control your child, maybe you need to stop bringing the child out in public.
That's what I'm saying.
Literally.
I've seen parents that use leash. Have y'all never seen a kid that uses
If
a
a
leash?
kid were to yell at you and cuss at you, then, well, that will be the parents do it.
Then shouldn't the parents correct that behavior?
No, I would be like, who the freak is this? That's what I wouldn't be like, oh, let me just blame, because guess what? If you're saying, oh, blame the parent, so have you ever went up to a parent and said, this is what you should be doing?
No.
You would usually say that to the child, not the parent. You probably let the parent know, like, this is what they've been doing.
Honestly.
Like, for example, this happened to me, where a random Caucasian child bit me in my arm. I didn't even know this guy. And I don't know, he's probably like under the age of 8. And I was like, what? I was like, first I thought he was going to say hi to me, but he didn't. I was like, don't bite people. That's not okay. And then, you know, I told the parents, you would usually scold the child for the misbehaving. You wouldn't scold the parent. So that's what I mean. Okay, that's why I don't put 100% blame on the parent. Because when a child does something wrong, you would tell the child you did something wrong. You wouldn't tell the parent.
I mean,
Caucasian, it does matter, because I don't know why would a child who's Caucasian come up to me and bite me on my arm. Why would that happen?
If a kid did something like that, I would of course take them to the parents and talk to the parents about the behavior.
Yeah, I'm obviously
so
he was lost. The little boy was lost. He bit me on my arm, so I had to look for his parents. But like, yeah, absolutely.
Then why'd you just talk to did you not like normalize? I'm not talking to a random kid. I'm sorry.
So if a kid bit you on your arm, you're just gonna be like, okay, whatever, you're a kid. Let me just go find your parents. No, you're gonna be like, what? Don't do that. Are you serious?
Yeah, and like what Nancy says, they get their choices from their environment. Like,
no, she said kids low key. She said kids low key get that they're bad. She didn't say, oh, blame the parents. Fully blame the parents.
Oh my god, man. She said kids low-key get their bad choices from their parents. Yeah, like it's literally mostly just from their environment.
Many YT whip kids. What? No, they don't.
Like,
that's not. It's not ACEs. That's not. The little boy probably was, but.
Like, let's be real, y'all. Like, if a random kid went up to you and said something bad, would you tell the kid or would you tell the parents? Like, if the parents were right next to them, I would tell the parents that you know that isn't good. Yeah,
I would say don't do that, and then I would let the parent know what it did, or the parent would probably see it.
Like, I wouldn't just completely blame it on the
kid.
Like,
do you think like a kid just like it's just like this floating thing that's not developed, like a fetus? Like, the kid knows what it's doing. Trust me. I don't understand why you don't understand that.
I do understand that.
So, again, like, let's say if you got a little cousin, are you going to be like, and they did something bad, are you going to be like, call their mom or something? Or are you going to tell them that's not okay?
I would do both.
Yeah, yeah. So why wouldn't you do both in, like, another instance?
What do you mean other instant? Like, what do you mean?
You said, oh, I wouldn't talk to the child, I would talk to the parent.
It's because, like, first off, I don't think some kids would really listen. I mean, I would tell the kids. But, like, you know, like, it's just better to tell the parents. Yeah, I would tell the parents. Like, I trust them more, honestly.
It's not about trust. It's about them reaching a certain understanding. They probably won't get the exact moment you tell them, don't do that. But they'll say, like, why is she telling me not to do this? It's probably because I did something.
Yeah, but some kids don't know that. Some kids obviously just don't listen.
Like, and that's my point. And that's exactly my point. Hello.
Hi, I have 2 questions before we get started. Is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay, so by kids, what age group are we talking about?
I'm talking 3 to 17. Possibly 2. Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 19 years young.
Okay. Why should kids not be allowed to go in public?
Really, Gavin, you were here for 25 minutes. 25.
Yeah, I was. Can you tell me? Or no?
Yeah, okay. So again, kids shouldn't be disobedient kids, which is the majority of kids, shouldn't be allowed in public because they scream uncontrollably for no reason. They are violent, they're disrespectful, and they don't know how to behave. So why would I let, if I was the mother, my child do this to other people? Because they're not just going to do that to me. They're going to do that to other people. Why would I allow that kind of behavior to be in public to people who didn't sign up for the job? To become a parent, that's my job.
Okay, so you're saying that like, wait, hold on, wait, what'd you just say? Wait, I'm sorry.
Were you not paying attention?
No, I just got confused by what you said.
About what?
I don't know, I just got confused. Can you repeat it?
So you want me to repeat everything I just said?
Just summarize it.
So most kids who are usually disobedient should not be in public because they're violent, they break things, they're disrespectful, and they're weird, and they steal.
So there's a lot of punishments for that and consequences. So let's say you were to fight someone, or you, like a 15-year-old were to fight his mother. That's why this special thing called juvenile exists. Are you aware of what that is?
Yeah.
Do you know what juvenile is? Yeah.
Juvie?
Yes, juvie. So that's mostly for these consequences for these like 15 to 17-year-olds stealing and fighting and being disrespectful to these other people. And you're saying like
but they're still a kid, right?
Yeah, and you're saying
so, and they're receiving punishment for their actions. And that's what I'm trying to enforce as well. That's why they get sent to juvie. They're not going to be in public anymore because of their misbehaving. That's exactly what I'm arguing. Yep.
All right, but another point I want to say is how's healthcare going to work if kids aren't allowed in public?
Like if they get injured?
How's that going to work? Let's say they have like an illness. How's that going to work? Is a doctor just going to come
Well,
to
it
their
depends
house?
what kind of illness they have because you don't need to go to the hospital for every type of illness.
So you're saying someone should die of an illness because it's not as important?
I said it depends on the illness. You need to specify the illness.
Depends on it?
Yeah.
I just mean an illness in general.
Okay, but there's different kinds. You know that, right?
Yes, I do. But I mean,
so if it comes to death, then they absolutely need to go to the hospital. But let's hope they don't kick, scream, and bite the nurses and the doctors while they're doing that. Obviously, I'm not saying keep them inside unless it's a near-death situation. What?
So
you must never been to a hospital before.
You know they kick, scream, and bite the doctors, but
yes,
they don't.
They do, because kids are scared. Kids are scared of the dentists, the doctors. I bit my dentist.
Why would you bite your dentist?
Because I was a scared little 6-year-old little girl. That's why.
Okay.
So I've been to the hospital quite some time, a lot, and there are a lot of, they bring their kids, disobedient kids, they run around, kick, and it's just, yeah, I would assume that's what they would do because they're scared of the doctors, they're scared of needles and stuff like that.
Okay, but my main point is that like there's like 866 million people die.
Oh.
Or 866 million people get like mental illnesses every year. And
okay.
And
but are they children?
Yes, they are. This is actually a website about children.
Oh, okay.
So 866 million children fall under no, not mental. Well, fall under like illnesses in the world, and if there, and there's under like 20 million doctors in the world, and so I feel like that caused a lot of stress to the doctors, because like 20 million, 800
Yeah, it
million,
will
that's
cause a lot of
that's a pretty
stress.
big jump.
So instead of teaching your kid nothing, teach your kid that sometimes certain things is okay. And just to trust their
Certain,
parent. But a lot of kids don't trust their parents. That's why they act out and do all that stuff.
well, that's why consequences exist, like jail, juvie, and
Yeah,
stuff like
and
that,
this is a
and the belt.
consequence. Letting them stay inside until they learn their decisions.
No,
It's
but
not
your topic
nearly as
is
harsh
that
as
they.
juvie. It's not nearly as harsh than juvie, but it will make them learn somehow.
Well, your topic says that kids don't belong in public in general, is what yours
Yeah.
says. And you just said that. I feel like you just contradicted yourself a little bit there.
Can you tell me what I just said?
You just said that they should stay inside for consequence for a little bit, and then your topic says that they don't belong in public at all. I don't really get how that, like, works together.
Well, first, it does. Okay. Because if they're in their
Okay.
house, they wouldn't be in public. Does it say kids don't belong in public forever? Does it say that?
It just says they don't belong in public. You never gave
Exactly.
anything to
So I didn't
specify that.
say like this was like supposed to be like forever type of thing. It's till they learn their actions. Juvie's not forever. Prison's not forever unless you've done something really horrible. So when they're put, consequences are not forever. This is a consequence. This is just
Well,
to the extreme, though.
You should probably put like something in the description that says it's not forever, because the title makes it seem like it's like forever.
Well, you're the only one who said that, so.
I think a lot of other people think that.
Wow. Well, I guess that's pretty crazy. Well. Yep.
See, look, people in chat are agreeing with me.
Well, this is why you need to look for keywords. Because if there's not a keyword...
What keywords? What
keyword would be forever.
Keyword? What?
That would be a keyword.
You should probably add that in the description then, so people know that it's not forever.
No, but I wouldn't think that.
Keyword is
so...
don't, which means not in general. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get back to the debate. All right.
Well, Gavin, I do appreciate you coming up. Yeah, I do appreciate you coming up. I don't really know what to say to you. You haven't really been keeping that much up of what I've been saying. Not all kids want to behave because why you expect them to be? They might do that because they're happy or sad or mad. That's normal. No one's saying no kid should scream ever in public. Because sometimes kids have that outburst. But if it's a continued type of thing, then that's unacceptable.
Hello.
Hello.
So, I have a lot of points because I've been here a while, so I'm going to make those. But, to start, I think that your age range is extremely, like that's really absurd. 16-year-old, you said 3 to 17.
Mm-hmm. What about that?
16-year-olds and sometimes 15-year-olds are actually starting to get jobs, learn how to drive, so they can become like solid
But
adults.
they're still a child. They're not a legal adult. Even though you can get a job, doesn't make you an adult all of a sudden. They're still under law, and they're still...
Please don't interrupt me. I was not done speaking.
Yeah, but I'm just clarifying something to you that you're not understanding.
Right, that's not what I was saying. I'm saying that in order to become solid adults, people need to be let out so they can get experiences. If you hold people back until they turn 18, then at that time they are starting college usually, most people, and stuff like that. So you've actually created a stunt in their ability to become solid adults. And if you're fighting and if you're advocating for mature and grown people, then by isolating you're actually causing that to be impossible.
So I guess you're just I don't hear any keywords. So I'm not saying isolate them till they're 18. I didn't say all kids should be isolated and get no jobs. I said the kids that are bad. Kids who are bad, they don't have no jobs because the company that they're trying to apply for will see that they're bad, right? And if it takes them that long to where they're a legal adult to realize that they've done bad, then that's a shame. But I'm not specifying that either. I'm not saying keep them in the house until they turn an adult, right? And they won't even get a job because they are bad. So again, I'm not talking about every single kid. I'm talking majority of kids who are bad, violent, scream, steal, should not be allowed out in public, let alone get a job.
Okay, so I'm going to now debunk your whole point, which is that this isolation is going to be a form of discipline for the bad children, right? That's your whole stance, right? So you think that keeping them out of public is going to make them better kids?
Eventually, yes.
Okay, so I actually have a site. Nobody who's debated you yet, from what I've seen, has actually gotten a source for you. So this is coming from National Institutes of Health.gov. And it says, yes, isolation severely impacts children. It disrupts brain development, stunts social skills, and increases stress. Children deprived of peer interaction often struggle with emotional regulation, exhibit behavioral challenges, and face higher risks of anxiety and depression. So if you isolate children, you're actually doing more damage. They're going to be worse kids. They're going to have worse behavior issues because you have not taken the opportunity to discipline them in any of the other many ways. There's so many forms of punishment that work so much better than isolation. Isolation could actually be counted as neglect and possibly abuse in a way because you're really damaging the child's mental health.
From just simply keeping them inside of their own home.
Yeah, that's isolation, yeah, if you don't let them out in public because they've done something wrong, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, again, I don't think it's going to reach that point. I'm pretty sure there's a certain amount of time that you're supposed to be isolated for you to have them kind of problems. So, again, if it takes longer all the way up to you're an adult, of course there's going to be some problems with that. But again, I don't care what problems you might have. You were the problem. That's why you were in that situation. And that's what I'm saying is only when the discipline that the parents have been doing don't work, or they're not even putting no effort towards trying to discipline their kid. So if those things don't work, again, nobody else should be subjected. That will create mental problems from other people due to the fact that your child is not being obedient. That still doesn't excuse the fact. I can care less about a disobedient, violent child, because what I think that's going to happen if they continue is they're going to become an adult and do severely worse because no one taught them right from wrong. So when you're isolated, you have time to think about what you've done. That's why people extol that in juvie in prison, because you're by yourself and you can think about what you've done. That is why. So yeah, can you tell me, wait, the article you just mentioned, can you tell me how many years, because I'm pretty sure it would state that, of where you will face that kind of mental problems?
Okay, first off, what you're doing is you're spitballing points, and I don't have time to reply to all of them. So before
I'm answering all the points. I'm answering all those points you just mentioned.
And so now I'm going to reply to all of them before I get what you asked for from the site.
Okay.
So what I think you talked about was it takes a certain amount of isolation, right? Why would you wait? Why would you risk that happening at all? In my opinion, isolation is like the lowest form of punishment. It doesn't get the job done properly. Also, you mentioned if the other methods of punishment aren't working, then it should be like a last resort. This is the minority of cases. You keep saying majority of children are bad, but you are not considering that majority of those children get punished in a different way that works before isolation has to be what we result to. So in the minority of cases, which is not in general, that's the small portion, so your point would be entirely off if that was the case. In the minority of cases, those punishments don't work. Now I'll also reply, you said something really absurd. I don't know if anybody in the chat caught it. You said that you could care less about bad children. That was a quote out of your mouth. So what I'm getting is so if a child is misbehaving, you're going to give up on it, isolate it, not care about its mental health. Right?
Yeah, it's not my child. I don't care about children in general, but if it's not my child, if it's not my child, why would I care about a bad, inconsiderate child? Why in the world would I care about that?
Oh my god, you're the cruelest person I've ever met. Okay, anyways,
that's fine.
Now I'm gonna move on to my next point. Holy, you're nerfing yourself. Okay. So your whole thing is that children are mostly to blame, not the parents. Because the children are the ones making those decisions, right?
I talked about that numerous times before, but I wanted the article, I really want how many years that will feed in though.
Here, I'll have to dig in for a while, so let me see.
Thank you. My kids ain't going to be acting like that. I know that for sure.
I think your children are going to have a lot of issues, actually, because you're a very closed-minded individual.
Wow, okay.
You just said you don't care about other children if they misbehave.
Why would I care about a child that misbehaves? Why would I care about a child that bit me and stuff like that? Like, again, just because they're younger than me doesn't mean, like, I'm going to treat them like they deserve less punishment, even though they do the exact same amount of damage. Like, what? That's not okay. That's not right. And that shouldn't be normalized either.
So
a man.
Right. Anyways, so I actually can't find a set time. It's mostly just talking about how it's giving examples of times that children were isolated, and they're like, but it shouldn't matter.
So if it's giving times and it's not giving you a time, then it's not giving time.
Yeah, that's what I said. It doesn't give time. It doesn't have a list of years or anything like that. It just says isolation in general. Hello. Hello.
So when you provide an article, it needs to be clear about the certain key points, because when you just mentioned that article, it has to be a certain amount of time. It just can't say if you isolate the child. It needed to say a certain amount of time. So I guess I'm not gonna. Okay.
But you haven't provided a single source yourself.
Because nobody asked me to. But I had to look it up for you. So for any mental effects that you were talking about in that article, it showed me 6 to 2 years of where those things will come in effect. And I never specifically said an amount of time that the child should just be in the home. Honestly, I don't think it should take 6 months or 2 years for a child to learn their mistakes if they're being kept in the house. I don't think it would be like that. Okay, but I feel very sick that y'all would think that it would take like forever. Like, and I meant forever. Like, obviously not, but you know.
Well,
so 6 to 2 years, which that's not what I'm talking about.
Right. So I'll now use another source to rebuttal. So this is coming from childmind.org. It's referring to timeouts, which timeouts are a form of isolation. You're keeping a kid away from people and you're not communicating with the child. You're just putting it away. Which this is technically what you're referring to is just a
That's not what I said. That's not what I'm enforcing.
Right now, but timeout and isolation, they're very closely intertwined.
Yeah, but when you put a child in timeout, they're not just going to say nothing to the child and just put them there. They're going to give a reason.
What timeout is. I would like you to research
No, that's not what timeout is.
Can I get to my point, please? You keep interrupting me.
Yeah, but I'm not going to let you continue about this thing that you feel like is going to like disrupt everything I'm saying if it's not what I'm saying. So
for isolation, use the rule.
That is what timeout is. Wow, y'all are crazy.
Use the rule of thumb of 1 minute per year of age. So a 3-year-old gets 3 minutes. The maximum duration should never exceed 5 minutes. The goal is to give child space and calm down to self-regulate rather than just forcing them to sit. So your whole thing, you should not, if you're keeping a child locked up or put away, it's not going to have a good effect unless it's for under 5 minutes. And I'm sure that's not what you mean, because you've been very.
Then I would have said time out. But again, this is a more severe approach. That's not what you're understanding.
Worse than time out, so it should be even shorter.
Yeah, but I'm not saying time out, because if that was the case, then I would have said time out. I don't think 5 minutes a child's gonna understand everything it did wrong, especially if they're being violent, they're hitting, they're stealing, and they're breaking things, and they're screaming uncontrollably. I don't think 5 minutes is going to teach that child what they did wrong. It didn't do that to my little brother.
So then how about you argue with childmind.org, because that is like an institute about
Okay, but
children's
again, you're bringing up sites that either don't provide enough evidence, and two, it's not what I'm saying. So I'm not going to argue with something if it's not what I'm saying. Do you understand?
Right. Okay. My next point, because I feel like everybody knows that you're getting cooked except for you.
Yeah, so I don't go with everyone like what you do. I don't really care what everyone's saying. Yeah, and that's exactly what is the problem today. You guys go with everyone instead of coming with your own decisions, because you weren't raised to come up with your own decision and you rely on other people. But when you teach kids to understand and rely on themselves, which is a key peak experience when you become an adult, then they wouldn't be acting the way they do. But since you feel like kids need to be around other kids, they need to be in public for things, that's not what a child needs to be around 24/7, especially when they're acting up. But you can continue.
Right. So for my next point, you blame the children more than the parents. That's been very clearly expressed. You've said that multiple times, as you stated.
Yes.
So I'm going to introduce you to a topic called the frontal lobe, which is the front part of your brain, the last part to develop. It finishes developing completely between your mid-20s and early 30s. The frontal lobe's whole function is decision-making, emotional regulation, and impulse control. So if this part of your brain that controls your decisions, your impulses, your emotion regulation is not fully developed until like mid-20s, then the age groups that you're talking about are very likely extremely lacking in the development of that. Ergo, it's not their fault that they are poor at decision making and impulse control. And so instead of blaming them fully, I believe the full blame should go on the parents, because the child genuinely is not fully developed. They don't have control over themselves nearly as much as an adult, who should discuss to them the situations. I also don't think that they should result to isolating their child, because that only has negative effects.
Okay, so again, just because a part of your brain isn't fully developed doesn't mean you can't make good decisions. And just because your frontal lobe is developed doesn't mean you make good decisions throughout your life and you don't make any bad decisions. And I feel like you're just very idiotic for thinking something like that. So just because your frontal lobe is fully developed, that means since it's already developed, okay. You know what? See, like, we're gone. Like, what the fuck is she on about? She's not even, bro. Your frontal lobe has nothing to do with, like, you making good decisions, bro. That has nothing to do with nothing. Yeah, higher thinking and self-control, but it has nothing to do with you making, like, you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Exactly. I made some good-ass decisions, and my frontal lobe is not fully developed. And people whose frontal lobe is developed have made terrible decisions. So I don't know what she's really trying to say. I think she's just going to say, like, kids are obviously less educated, but that doesn't mean they're not able to do good decisions. And since they have, I guess, her eyes, they're fucking idiotic and stupid, they just, that's what they do. That's all they do bad decisions. What do I mean by that? Can you unmute, please? I can't because my newborn sister is taking a nap. What? Okay. Well, basically what I mean by that is that most kids are disobedient. So they, either kick, scream, hit, violence, break things, steal things, just act out, and those things shouldn't be in public. Those things shouldn't be in public. I know, I didn't say every kid, I said most kids. I said most kids. That's what I said. Hi, BC Ben. Okay. And also, I don't feel like newborns should be taken out in public either. So why don't belong in public, these peaceful kids? No one's saying that the peaceful kids don't belong in public. I'm saying the kids that are disobedient, that are bad usually, most of them are, they shouldn't be in public. Of course, why wouldn't a peaceful kid be in public? I wouldn't understand. David, don't make me hit you with a... Oh. You said kids, so I took it as in general. But when you say... You know what? I'm not even going to give it an instance. No, I don't mean in general. Maybe I should put that as a description. Kids do belong here in one instance. In one instance.
Why'd you get rid of the first discussion?
Because I got VC. Obviously. Weren't you the part of the people who was like, oh, I should never have any type of kid because you feel like I would do something dangerous to them?
True.
By the way, should owning... well, yeah, guns are, legal, so... They should be restricted, more stricter rules, but they should be legal, of course. So raise your hand if... Oh my... Okay, so I guess David doesn't want to talk because his mic is muted, so we'll let someone to replace him.
Hey.
Hey. Okay, so Yep. Just in time.
Hello?
Hey, Gavin.
What's that?
Just saying the same thing, trying to get more people on the right side.
Well, okay, well, I see that you specified it. But that girl, that girl that was debating with you, she looked cooked you, bro. She looked fried, bro.
Okay.
She put you on a grill and just like cooked you, bro.
No, what she did do was put out stuff that I wasn't saying, and then since she was the only one who looked up things that are irrelevant, you just obligated to believe her.
Nah, she was actually backing up her points with evidence, and you were not.
Yeah, so but these points I was not stating to her, so it was just stuff that was not even stated to her.
They were claims that you stated that she debunked.
I never said a specific amount of time. I didn't talk about timeout. I didn't talk about the frontal. Yeah, I didn't talk about the frontal lobe. I didn't talk about, you know, my kids. I didn't talk about none of that. She was talking about all of that. So
wait. All right, I just have one question. If you have a kid, and let's say he punched another kid at preschool, how long would you put him in your house for?
So obviously I would discipline him first, but if none of that is working, which probably it wasn't, that's why he punched the kid, then he would stay in my house until his actions changed.
Hello?
Yeah, are you gonna respond?
No, your mic glitched out. I didn't know what you were saying.
I said, I said that he would stay in my house until his actions has changed. Because if it's got to the point where he's punching people, and he's not gonna be in public no more. Nope. Mm-mm.
All right, so let's say that because he's stuck in this house, he gets depressed and angry.
I don't care.
You, and he
I do not
starts
care.
lashing out. You don't care about your kid lashing out at you?
I don't care about the depressing stuff part, because he needs to know that he was the one at fault. So you can be depressed, but I don't care. It would be. I would care if it wasn't. Well, it would be his fault still, but he's the one who did something wrong. Why should he just be? What?
Wait, did you say you wouldn't care if your kid got depressed? That's kind of what you just said there.
If he did something wrong to make him depressed, no, I would not.
So, if you put him in a house, and then he got angry and something, and he got depressed because, let's say he has no friends, he punched a dude, like on the side of the street or something, or in pre-K, whatever, and you'd punish him, and then he's depressed because he has no one to talk to, and then he gets angry.
Can care less, because I would probably have a lawsuit on my hands that will make me depressed and probably financially unstable to try to find a good lawyer so my son doesn't go to juvie, but probably he deserved to go to juvie if he's punching pre-K students in their face. I don't care if he's depressed. He's the one who did something wrong. So if somebody who's killed 18 people for absolutely no reason, an act of violence, is depressed because he's in prison, do you think he should be like cared for because he's depressed, even though he was the one who did something wrong?
So
yes or no?
You said if the press did something bad in prison, would I care?
No, I said if somebody who murdered people is now depressed because he's in prison for it, because he did something bad, do you care about him being depressed?
Okay, whoa, punching someone and murdering people are two completely different things.
They are, but they're still act of violence, and it's still, they were in the wrong.
Act of violence, there's violence, then there's domestic
Can you just
violence.
answer the question?
What question did you ask me?
See, this is exactly why. Now you're getting you're frustrating me. I just repeated it 3 times and you still don't understand. But you repeated it back, but you still don't understand. Hey, hello.
Hello.
Hello. So, do you disagree with the topic?
Yes, I fairly do.
Okay,
Kids
why?
You were once a kid. I know that. Kid. And you were once in public, so why shouldn't kids go be in
I wasn't a disobedient, violent kid, and my behavior was corrected, so I wouldn't have to be inside. I'm only talking about the kids that are misbehaving, who hasn't learned. The last action would be staying inside.
No, I think they shouldn't stay inside.
So you think they should continue terrorizing people?
No, they shouldn't.
But that's what they're doing.
Teach them enough.
I'm telling you, that's not working though. It's the last resort. That means the other resorts weren't working. So if it's not working, they should be stop going in public.
No, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't.
Okay,
They
so
shouldn't be
explain
allowed to
why.
go in public. Well, maybe they've done some bad stuff, troublemakers and stuff like that. They can learn though to not do
Yeah,
that.
but they haven't, and that's the point that I'm trying to. It said to you for the third time. They haven't learned. They haven't been disciplined in the right way to make them learn. So, are we going to continue to have kids who act like that, who don't learn from their mistakes, just be out and about in public? Exactly. No, we're not. No, you wouldn't. Jesus, these people are crazy. Like, honestly. Anyways, hello.
So why can't kids go in public?
Go to school, no.
Because most kids, are disobedient. They act violent. They scream uncontrollably. They break things. They steal things. They act a mess. Why would those be in public?
How do you know that kids do that?
Because I've seen it multiple
Okay,
different
do you
areas.
know that some kids have like disabilities that cause them
Just
to do
because you have a
that?
disability doesn't mean it should be excused, your behavior.
Oh wow! So telling like an extremely like autistic person that
That it's not okay to hit, it's not okay to just scream, and it's not okay to be disobedient. Yeah, I would still install the same things.
But they still do, and you can't really control that.
No, you can though.
You can't.
There's many people who have disabilities that don't act like that because it's been controlled.
There's different kinds of disabilities and
Okay, so which one are you talking about then?
Things like autism, extreme ADHD, OCD.
Okay, so give me a world where having those things you get away with hitting.
This world.
Okay, give me a world where you get away with screaming abruptly.
There's no other world. It's this world. To all your questions.
Okay, well, that's not true. They don't get away with things like that.
What?
They don't get away with things like that.
They do. Actually.
They don't. It will, under law, if a disabled person hits you, they might get a lesser charge, but they still will get arrested.
You're talking about kids right now.
Yeah.
Kids can't.
Kids don't get away with just hitting people. That doesn't happen.
Under the age of 12, they can't get arrested.
They can go to juvie. If somebody really wants to take it up to that point.
I just said under the age of 12. Juvie's for 12 to 17.
No, it can be any ages. Under the age of 18.
That's not. Okay.
Okay, but you're not looking at the facts. I don't know where you're getting this from, but just because you have a disability doesn't mean
rules at a school for autism.
Okay, well, not everyone goes to a school with disability. So again, this world, you will get arrested if people take it up to that point. Okay, you will get arrested even if you have a disability if you commit an act of violence.
What? What'd you say?
Doesn't matter if you have a disability or not, if you commit an act of violence, you will get arrested for it. That's just how things are.
About kids. Stay on the topic of
I'm talking about kids. So again, let's say a kid. Okay, let's say a kid who has like a severe mental illness, and he shoots up a school. Does he get arrested?
He probably, depending on the age, you're talking about kids, 10.
He would get arrested. He would.
You have to say the age because getting arrested.
Any kid, if they shoot up a school, they're going to get arrested. I'm telling you it don't matter. So you keep on asking me for an age. I'm telling you it literally doesn't matter.
It actually does because they can't get arrested if they're under the age of 9.
Okay, so go look it up, okay?
I just did.
What does it say?
You can get arrested, but you're not going to face like any time.
That's what I'm talking about, arresting, and you would FaceTime. So
you can't FaceTime if you're under
okay. If you look up something and the facts is in front of you, and I'm saying the same thing as what it's saying, and then you're saying a different thing, then I know you can't stay on topic, so you're not staying up here for long. Okay, hello.
Hello, I'm back again.
So did you make a decision?
Yes, I actually did. This is kind of a stupid thing, honestly.
That you came up?
I think you're Delulu.
Right, but you've been waiting for 4 minutes over something that you feel is like not worth your time.
It is, honestly, worth my time.
Okay, so answer the question.
You don't even know the age to get in jail. You don't even know the age to get in jail.
You can be in jail at any age.
No, I don't think a 1-year-old can.
Okay, depend.
Cannot cause a crime.
They 100% can. It might be taking less, you know, but it still is a crime at the end of the day. If a 1-year-old sets a house on fire, everyone's gonna be like, "What do you do?" It's a 1-year-old.
You set a house on fire, so that's impossible.
A dog, literally, it was all over the news. A dog set a house on fire, so I guarantee a 1-year-old can.
I think the only 1-year-old can do is spit. That's pretty much it, and maybe learn a few words.
Are you taking from comments? Is that what you're getting your inspo from, comments? Because Gavin just said the same thing.
No, I'm actually not getting it from comments.
Okay, so if you think kids don't belong in public, even if they're being violent, screaming, stealing, and the resort of disciplining them is not working. There's been kids that stole before.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But look, man, that doesn't mean they can't go in the public. They're not like
that absolutely does.
Wanted criminal.
They wouldn't be, but it's still not okay. Jordan, be quiet, honestly.
It's like not bringing my violent dog in public because they're gonna bite, eat people, chew on them.
Yeah, why would you bring that in public?
Because it's a dog. And a dog needs to pee and poo. Can't just stay in the house all day like a kid.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, just because it has to do those things doesn't mean they should be in public.
They should be, honestly. They can't just not be in public. Everyone can be in public, even if you misbehaved one time.
Yeah, but it all falls under if they belong in public.
They do belong in public.
So you,
everyone does.
So even just a clarification. Wow. So just for a clarification, you think violent kids who possibly can steal should be out and about in public. You think violent dogs should be out in public, and you think someone who's been locked up for doing a very disgusting thing should be out and about in public. And that's what you think.
Well,
yes or no?
I gotta be honest with you.
Yes or no?
Yes. I don't
All right.
really care what
but you claim that I'm the one rage baiting.
How's it going?
It's definitely going.
Yeah, I can tell. So like, what do you think the mental deteriorate? I mean, how do you think your life would be if you weren't allowed outside of your house?
It's actually improved.
No, it hasn't. No.
Okay, so when I was a child, so
you know the effect.
Can I answer your question, or no?
Yeah, sure.
So when I was inside, and my father and my mom said I can't go in public, it's because I did something bad, and I wasn't allowed to go out in public, and I learned to never do that again because I like being in public, so I never did those things again, and that's what it would teach the kid. What it did for my mental health is irrelevant because it made me a better person.
You serious?
Yeah.
Just because it made you a better person, you think that
yeah, just
all kids
yeah.
should be kept in until they
Look at the
turn 18.
description. Gavin told me to add a description. Can you look at the description?
The description just says not all kids, most kids. But
And
I
you just said
literally
all.
This is so vague. What do you mean not
You
all?
literally
Like
said all. So and I added the
what?
description.
What kids do you believe should be kept inside?
Obviously the ones that are disobedient.
All kids are disobedient.
Okay,
It's
but
a
it
natural
depends.
human thing.
It's
It
not
is a
natural to be violent, to scream and yell, to steal, and to be disrespectful.
As a child, you are born. I mean, you're curious as a child. You're gonna do things. It's misbehaving. It's just
And the
wrong.
you can be curious on the wrong things too, that are
Being
bad.
isolated is not a fix to this.
It was for many people.
For most kids will make it worse because what will these kids do? They will turn to the internet,
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
It could be. You don't understand how bad the internet could be, especially at this time.
It depends on what exactly are they getting on. That's when the parents need to moderate that stuff.
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, parents could moderate as much as they want, especially on Roblox. That doesn't mean they're not gonna fall through the cracks.
Yeah, they're not gonna be, but it's better than just like not moderating them at all.
Going out in public and like going outside is a human right. It's a human right.
Yeah, but not everyone gets that right because they do something wrong.
Because they do something.
That's the only reason why they don't belong in public. If they do something wrong, that's the only thing I'm arguing.
You think if a child were to, let's say, be curious and steal a candy bar, not knowing right from wrong, right? Because kids don't know. They don't know.
Okay, so if the child usually...
Before you're 13, you really just don't know what you're doing.
Okay, that's not true, because I did. So, again, if the child... Stop talking. Let me answer the question.
Okay, whatever.
So the child sees his parents stealing, right? Then probably the parents will not even punish them because they would be like, okay, whatever, that's what they see me doing. But let's talk about the children who know it's wrong, right? Who steal. They should be not belonging in public. But if they generally don't know, then you still got to teach them either or. But it's probably not going to be up to the parents. This is the parents' decision. No one's going to just isolate kids who they don't know. But, yeah.
So, your whole argument system here is very redundant and very not thought out. You're thinking black and white here. You're thinking, oh yeah, because you do this bad thing, you have to be isolated. Dude,
that's not what I said.
You're acting like because... Do
you want me to clarify what I'm saying, or are you just going to keep on running on a narrative that's not what I'm saying?
I can't speak for like 5 seconds. Just let me
Okay,
speak.
but I would love to let you finish when you got the right thing in mind. When you're telling me something that I've never said, then I'm not going to let you continue because I didn't say that. But I didn't say that. Do you care?
Okay, you didn't say that. You didn't say that.
No.
Oh,
so talk about something else because I didn't say that.
Whatever. So, okay, so I think I would understand this more if you applied this reasoning to adults who do bad things because, yeah, they know right from wrong. The brain is fully developed. A child, the brain is not fully developed. They don't know right from wrong. They're still learning.
Okay.
Like, it's vastly different. You should be allowed in public. Oh, if a kid does this, if a kid does that. If they steal like one thing from the store, they'll get punished at home. They don't have to be kept inside all day. That's for months. It's not. It should work.
For months.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
You're 19.
But let me talk about these points. So these rules are also implied on adults as well. Okay? And just because one is an adult and one is a child doesn't mean that there should be 100% different ways to go about situations. Because sometimes going upon the same route, the same as an adult, is the best situation, okay? Because just like adults, when they do bad things, they get arrested and they're isolated. They go to prison, they're isolated. So, but that, you don't just go to prison for just like, there's no repercussions before that. They probably got multiple warnings. They probably got arrested numerous of times prior. So there's before consequences, before prison, because prison's the last resort. So that's what I'm saying too. There been parents who teach their kid, trying to teach their kid right from wrong, but they don't understand. The kids continues to do the wrong thing. So the last resort would have to be them not going in public until they learn. What's so bad about that?
This is really just a very minor problem that you're speaking about, because
It's
kids
not minor.
they learn right from wrong. If you have a child that can't learn right from wrong, there's obviously something going on inside their head that needs to have
Exactly.
help, to give them help, not isolate them.
That
You
is
need to
helping
bring
them.
or give them medicine or take better care of them.
Give them
It's not
medicine over them stealing and being violent and them screaming in public. Really? Medicine?
Medicine? Dude, how do you think mentally ill people are allowed to walk around?
Okay, but
Someone with
mentally ill people are adults. Is that what you're talking about?
Not all mentally ill people are adults.
Well, I'm asking you, are you... Okay. These people are fucking stupid, and I'm really tired. Do you hear the, like, masculine voice coming in? The masculine voice. Hold on, I'll be buried.